Okay, so it's Ashley Wright. I'm presenting to a couple of staff from Leeds Beckett University about Learn Ultra. I've logged in here as an instructor, a member of staff, and there are three ways you can land by default in Ultra. So there are three different areas. So you can land on this area that's called the institution page. And this is the page that you can personalize for Leeds Beckett, and you can target information to specific users. So this could be information about, for example, COVID, but it could be information about graduation ceremonies, NSS, anything, any information you want to get across to your users. Again, it can be segmented to different roles in Blackboard. So if you have, student roles, you might have a role for, say, Department of or the School of Business, School of Law. If you've got specific roles for those users, staff or students, you can present information to them and only they would see it. So again, it doesn't have to be one piece of information goes to everybody, but in some instances you might want to do that. This panel here that's in purple, again, these colours, we've created this to match your corporate colours, your brand. And again, we put an image on here and your logo and a link to Leeds Beckett. All this can be customised, so you can change the white text, you can change the purple to something else if you want. This tells me who I am, so that's my first name, last name. If I click on it, I can amend some of this. Again, just to let you know, we have implemented Ultra at lots and lots of universities around the UK and globally. Hundreds and hundreds are now using this. This is delivered through software as a service. We use Amazon Web Services. And again, it's used widely, so I can put you in touch with other institutions who are using this now at scale, quite a few in Scotland, and many, many more in the UK. And SAS as a deployment method is the biggest version, if you like, that we have running now globally and in the UK. So more people are on SAS than they are on managed hosting or self-hosting across the globe for Blackboard. You can upload an image of yourself here. I won't do it, but again, just follow the on-screen instructions. And again, useful for all users to have that specific, especially distance learning, where you're not necessarily going to meet them face to face. So you can, this image, again, like it does in 9.1 that you've got at the moment, appears wherever they are. You can also link your personal accounts, so your cloud storage here at the bottom right. You could link your Office 365 OneDrive account. You do this once and it persists throughout Blackboard. So that's useful, particularly if you're a student and you want to submit an assignment that you've stored in OneDrive. You can just go here and get it. Again, it's optional, but again, you can do that. And again, staff can do that. And again, if they've got assessments or documents, resources stored there, they can just go and find it and click the link and upload. So really quick to do. You can also amend settings. I'll show you this in the activity stream in a minute, but essentially you can decide how often you get notifications pushed to you. So you can get notifications pushed to you daily. You can get them pushed to you every time something happens, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend because you can get swamped. And then you can change notifications in the stream. So one of the big things that's different with Ultra is the activity stream. So the three areas, just going back to this, that you can land on are the institution page, the activity stream, which is here. Seeing that okay? I'll just check for a verbal response. Yeah, audio's fine, is it? Great. Good stuff. And what I'm going to do a bit different to how I thought I was going to do it, I'm going to show you some actual courses. So I always think from your perspective, I could talk about adding content using the tools, but it's quite nice for you to visually see what a proper course or a course that's been built out looks like. So I'll show you that as well to give you an idea. So you've got the activity stream, and then you can see courses. So when you've got your login, I don't know if you've logged in yet, Rihanna's got all the login details. You could also have a student login as well if you want to see it from a student perspective. Big thing I think that's nice, makes it look contemporary, are these course cards. When you actually see a live university, like I was at Dundee just before Christmas, and it's quite nice to see staff with loads and loads of courses and loads of these, you know, it brings it to life rather than me showing you sort of a demo site. There are lots and lots of courses and different course codes and so on. So again, one of the things that's different are these course cards. As an instructor, you can change the image that appears here. This is popular stock images at the back end, so you don't have to worry about that if you don't have an image. But again, you might want to personalize that to suit your subject. And you can look at all courses you teach, courses you're enrolled in as a student, and then we've got these other options as well. Again, I'll let you explore those when you get into Ultra. The other thing you'll notice is this star or favorite icon. That allows you to move them up the list. They become sticky. And again, that's useful. I think I mentioned the other day that particularly useful if you're using a mobile device, particularly for students. So any of this I'm showing you now, I'm showing you this from a Mac, a desktop laptop. But again, this same view appears if you use your mobile device and a web browser. You would see the same experience, but obviously you've got a smaller screen to work with. So it's optimized to work on a smaller browser. So if I scale this down, you'll see it's responsive and it collapses. And again, that's the sort of view you'd get if you were on a mobile device. So it collapses. The menu is still here, but again, it collapses to respond to the size. Is that okay?
Yeah, fine.
Great. So the courses, you've also got organisations, which again are the same in Ultra. They've got the same functionality as courses. And then you've got other pieces of information here. So for example, you've got a calendar. So this gives you the calendar across everything that you're enrolled in. And you can look at it by day or by month. So again, they all appear in the calendar. You can import calendars. You can create events. So in the calendar, you can add a calendar. You can share a calendar like you can now in Blackboard. So it uses iCal format, so you can put them in. So for me on a Mac, that's a bit of a pain because it saves in a different format. I'd have to convert it to iCal, but you can still do it. And then another feature, one of the things really to bear in mind with Ultra is that it's different. We're not doing the same features and functions that you have in a 9.1 course, which you've been used to for some time at Leeds Beckett. What we've looked at is the whole workflow and how users are using it. So we've taken a lot of time to develop this. And one of the things that's different in Ultra is the ability to message people. So these are not emails, these are in-course messages. So you can message everybody in the course, you can message specific people if you know who's in here. You can send a message and you get all, this is sort of the rich text editor, but in a sort of smaller format. You can insert all these different pieces of information in this message to this particular student. But you can also send a copy if you wanted to their Leeds Beckett email account. So that would just also appear in their email. So again, this might be useful for pastoral care, you know, how are you doing? It might be a message you want to get out to all your students. And I should say anything that you post appears in this stream. So I'm going to come onto the stream in a second. I'm aware I'm bombarding you with lots of information. Last couple of things, grades. Again, this shows all the grades across everything. So I'm enrolled in here as a member of staff. This shows me that in this course here, there are quite a lot of assessments. Some may be formative, some might be summative. but it's telling me it keeps me on track. Tells me there's nothing to grade. If there's something to grade, like an assignment's been posted, I would click on it and say 1 assignment to grade or 5 assignments to grade, and I could jump directly to it and start grading them if I wanted to do that. So again, that's across everything I'm enrolled in. And again, that applies to students. They would see their grades, their feedback. This takes them to the My Grades. So you'd be familiar with My Grades in Blackboard Learn. It's a similar thing, but obviously in Ultra everything looks more contemporary, and generally you'll find it's a lot quicker and easier to use with less clicks. And then tools by default, we've got a couple of tools in here: Portfolio, Goal, Performance. You can add in other tools. So if you have an institutional license or tool for something, it could appear if you want. Again, this will be set up by system admin. It can appear here as well for you to use as a member of staff. That all okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Good, okay. So just going back to the stream is useful to keep everybody, the idea is it will keep everyone on track. So anything that's been created that's new today, or anything that has a deadline that's coming up, that's imminent, it will appear in the stream. So just to show you what this looks like in the real world, I am a student at the moment. I'm taking one of our courses. So we have a course which is aimed at training and enabling staff to use digital technology. It's accredited, it's at level 7, it's accredited by Sheffield Hallam, and again at the moment this is proving very popular because of COVID. We've got lots and lots of interest from understanding everybody is realising they need to upskill their staff en masse. But as part of sort of my personal development, I thought for this year I'd take this course to see what it's like. And it's been really good. I'm almost at the end now. I'm on the last bit, which is course completion. But going back to the stream on this particular environment, so I'm logged in here as a student, and I get, so this is a real course, you know, that's been run by, it's a global course. People running it are in the US, but people on it, students, are from all over the world. There's only about 15 of us, 15 to 20, but all these activities, assessments that take place, everything is available here in the stream. So as a student, you get a category called important. So again, this is generally around assessment. So anything that's assessed, we don't want students to miss it. I've done these activities so I can quite happily dismiss them, all. It's telling me here I've got a final exam. So I've got that coming up, which is next week. So I've got to take an online exam. I can see how I've done so far. I'm not bothered about showing you this. Oh, I got 100%. There you go. I didn't know that until I clicked it, honestly. Again, this is showing me recent things. I'm only in one course, but if I'm a student and I had lots of courses, which is generally the case, different course titles would appear here, and I can jump directly to the courses from the stream. So the idea of the stream really is to keep students and staff on track. So if you're a member of staff, it will tell you here, for example, you've got 3 assignments to mark, or you've got to go and mark an open essay question in a test, whatever it may be. So the stream, again, is information that automatically appears for you. You can view anything to do with assignments and tests, or marks and feedback. You can also personalize this. So as a student in the stream, I can disable that if I want. I won't do. I might disable that, and that, and then save it. So I can amend to some extent the settings. You can't disable anything that's going to have an assessment associated with it. So anything that has a date, a due date, we don't want students obviously turning that off, because then they'll miss it, and then they could say, put a challenge in and say, I didn't know about it. So we don't allow them to do that. But again, this is where again you change your notifications that I mentioned at the start. So if you click that notifications from your profile at the top left, it would take you to this. And because I'm a student, I also get access to the Blackboard app. I don't know if that's widely used at Leeds Beckett. Is it? I'll just pause there. Just checking you're still there.
Go to see the notifications panel. Is that what you mean? That you just...
No. So what you can do here is you can decide how frequently information's pushed to the app.
Oh, right. Okay.
From within Ultra.
Okay.
Yeah.
But is this just for streams, or is it just?
This is just for students, because students are the only ones who get the Blackboard app. But it's for any content in everything you're enrolled in.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's quite a nice feature because you can manage them in the app now as well. So you get this similar interface for managing your notifications. But again, you will also be notified if there's anything with a due date. There you go. It says notifications for due dates always appear in the app because we don't want them to miss those.
Okay.
We also, there's no link here, but if you use Turn-In, which I think you will do at Leeds Beckett, any Turn-In dates also appear in the stream.
Yeah. Okay.
And they'll also be pushed out to you.
Yeah. Okay. No,
which is a big thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a real course. And just to show you what it looks like, again, your course doesn't have to look like this. I'm only on one course, but in reality, like I say, lots of people on lots of courses. This has been organised, nice logical structure by modules. Some people organise things by weeks, some do it by themes or topics. I'm sure you're all familiar with that. This is tell me about the course. Anything with the purple dot, again, whether it's student or staff, that's a new activity indicator, it's called. So basically that means some new activities happened or I haven't viewed it since I last logged in. So if I look at this, I can see these are real students, so I won't go and look, but anything that I've not looked at appears in purple, and anybody who's replied is listed down the right. They're greyed out if they've not replied. So again, that's another way we're trying to get information out and make sure people are aware of what's going on in their courses so they don't miss it. Here's module 1. I'll go to this course information one because it's got quite a bit of information. So again, this shows you what you can do in Ultra at the moment. So again, this tells me about the course. There's an embedded video here created by the instructor. And that's just, I think this is just an orientation for Ultra. So that tells you and takes you through how it's organised. Some information here for students. You know where you are. As you're aware with online, you need to know, you need to be orientated and aware of what's coming next, what's expected of you. So this information, again, it's text heavy, but you can add images in here if you want. And then the courses that you've been given access to, you'll see they look similar, but obviously I think there's a few more images in there. This is an example of a course I'm delivering internally. So I'm delivering it's not a course really, it's a set of training sessions for our staff globally who are involved with tenders and managing tenders across the globe. I've been asked to run a number of sessions with them around Ultra, similar to you, and I've sort of broken it down into these areas. What you're seeing here is you can release folders and content on dates. So I'm logged in as the instructor. This is what I'm going to release. So I've built this content out already, but again, they can't release it because at the top level, this is contained in a folder. And once that date hits, so if I click on that, it shows me here that I've released this based on that date. Is that clear? So this is called conditional availability. You might be used to it as adaptive release. in 9.1 we changed the name of it for it to be a similar thing. So you can release based on date and time, performance. You can also show it to students even though it's not visible. So it's what I've done in here, so they know what's coming. I'm just springing it on them. I think in 9.1 you can either just make it, you can't make it visible until the date time hits and then it appears. So it's a bit of a shock sometimes to students. So it's quite nice. Again, another reason, another way we've amended things in Ultra to make it more user-friendly. Again, this is an area, this is a document. Again, I've included text. There's some decorative image, text, images, and so on. So again, you'd be familiar with this, I guess, in building out courses. Just to show you what a real couple of courses look like from a, this is from a staff perspective, and this one here was from a student perspective, the DTLS course. So again, we've got content. So this is the course content page. This is the calendar. So again, this has got real stuff in it. So again, you see how it's populated. These are discussions. So I'm going to come on to these in a second. So a discussion can appear here, but it can also appear on the content page, although it actually resides here. And then these are my grade, these are the course marks. And these, I've got feedback here. All mark, which could say that. I might say pass, might just have a number. Again, like you can in 9.1, you can create schemas. So it's not just numbers and percentages. And then these are messages. So when we started this course, just for a bit of background, COVID-19 hadn't become a big thing in Europe. And then in the middle of it all, it happened. You know, and so her messages, she basically sent messages to everybody, telling us, keeping us on track. I sent a message to her just saying, how you doing? She lives in North Carolina. So again, it was quite nice to keep in touch. You know, never met her before, but you know, she was good and kept us all on track with the course. So coming back here, you may be thinking, how do I add some content, or how do I use a course? So when you access a course, there's this menu across the top, which I've just gone through. So you've got content, discussions, content calendar, discussions, grades, messages. Ignore this one for now. That's if you've got analytics enabled. We won't discuss that for today. You've got options here to see everybody in your course. So if I click that, I can see all the students. So again, be nice if you put an image of yourself. It brings this a bit more to life. You can see a description. You can manage groups. We've just added self-enrollment groups. Is that something you use at Leeds Beckett much? Do you know?
Did you say groups in
Groups,
general?
yes. Well,
some courses, not all.
yeah.
For mine, I don't.
Okay.
With others, potentially. Is that just to group certain students within the same cohort, as in the same academic year?
Same cohort.
And what would that give them if you group them? Just
so you can assign, you can create what are called group assignments. So if they're working on a group project,
so they will have a different link to submit to.
Yeah, so they would have a piece. So for example, you and Adam could be in one group, Sarah and somebody else could be in another group. I could give you an assignment or a project to work on that only you see, and then they see a different one, and then they might submit their project together as a group.
So it's more of the content that you provide for the students that differs.
Yeah, on the assessment may be similar, or it could be different. It depends how you run your courses and how big they are. But yeah, you could give somebody a different assessment question. It still might be an assignment, but you could give them a different activity to do. I was just checking whether or not you think groups are used a lot at Leeds Beckett, as far as you know, or self-enrollment groups, again, which we've just just added, so that allows students to sign up. So I know when I worked at Newcastle University for 10 years, and people use these in quite interesting ways. So for example, for postgraduate taught master students or final year undergrads, usually they'd have a project dissertation to write, and one of them used to create self-enrollment groups, which contained one person only, and it listed all the projects they could pick. So the first come, first served. If you wanted to do a project on X, once they were released and you selected that and enrolled, you had project X. Okay. So people using them in interesting ways.
Okay.
Yeah.
Potentially other subjects, but not in the ones that I work on.
Yeah. What are your subjects? Okay.
Public health, nutrition, international relations. They're just slightly different, but there's not enough. I mean, I would say the course groups aren't that big, so that we therefore don't have that many group assignments. And if we did, we would allocate subjects and topics for them to work on. So we wouldn't necessarily create a new area for that.
All right.
Especially.
I mean, you could allocate that subject as a self-enrollment if you wanted. So, you might have 5 subjects. You could create 5 groups, and then students enroll themselves on that particular group. It's another way of managing users, your students.
Okay.
Think of it like that. What about you, Adam? Is it something you're...
Adam and I work on most
similar. Oh, you're the same.
courses.
Okay.
And most similarly, Adam.
Touch on tourism. I was thinking about was one module where we students have to say what their ideal topic they want to work on. So in a way, that's difficult. I think basically the students have to email the tutor and say, I want to work on this one, and then they'll group them as much as they can.
All right. But you could use this to get around that extra step if you wanted. I mean, people use them in all sorts of ways. What it allows students to do is go and self-enroll in a particular group. But again, you can use it, apply it however makes sense, or not. You don't have to use it. It's up to the lecturer to do it. Just going down this menu, so I'll quickly cover it. I don't think you're licensed to Collaborate today. You're probably using MS Teams or maybe Adobe Connect or something else. With Ultra is this integration with Collaborate. So by default, you get a course room. So we're in a room today, virtual room. There's one exists out of the box. But you can create lots and lots of different sessions and manage them, and they all appear here. So for example, just to show you how this works in the real world, if I go into my course here as a student, I can see, so every Collaborate session we had was recorded, a bit like we're doing now. So as a student, I just see this option here to view recordings. Collaborate can also monitor your attendance as well. And that can be fed into the grade center, the grade book. So again, that's something else to consider if that's of interest. So what I can see here are my recent recordings. So there's one recording here, which lasts 48 minutes. I can watch it now if I want. I can go and view recordings across a date range. So again, you can see we've had 3 recordings. So again, if I missed the session or I want to recap, revise it, really nice feature is that this is in here. Member of staff doesn't have to edit it, it just automatically appears. It's an MP4 file, and it's, as you can imagine, in the current climate, there's been a massive increase in the use of Collaborate and a massive increase in the use or the sales of Collaborate globally, because everybody's scrambling for a platform. Great thing is this, it's integrated. You have to have a username, password to get in here to see this, and everything is locked down in terms of security. From a staff point of view, just going on to this, when I come in here, I've set up a number of sessions for these 5. I've got 5 Collaborate sessions I'll be delivering over the next couple of weeks. If I go and look at the sessions, I can see, I think I'm doing one on a Monday, which is that one, and then I've got a recurring one for Wednesdays and Fridays. So I've created Wednesdays and Fridays, so 2 are Wednesday, 2 are Friday, and I've created a different one because it lasts longer, which I'm covering assessment. So that's just to show you how integrated it is, how easy it is to create a session. You just create it, and then it'll appear in that drop down message. So coming back here, that's the details and actions. Announcements are similar to what you have now. They pop up when you log in. So I could create an announcement now. This here is basically an area to write text. We're going to use the full text editor that's going to be released in the next couple of months to be able to add content, images, links to cloud storage, etc., etc. You'll also be able to put dates and times on announcements, which you can do at the moment. So again, that's posted. And then I think I might have mentioned this the other day. Quickly go through these. Any links you have to resources or materials which pay a license for can appear. I might not have any here, but they would appear in this list. So if you use McGraw-Hill, Pearson's, I don't know if you use any of those well-known big publishers. If you have an integration for your particular course, that would appear in this list. So sometimes, you know, there's a book or a set of e-learning materials that are provided with publishers to go alongside particular courses. And then question banks are here. Again, you can create question banks and use them in tests. So is that something you use at Leeds, Beckett? It's a lot of online tests, or is that going to become a bigger thing? Do you
not
think?
in my courses, but potentially other
In others.
Others, yes.
Okay. And then the other favourite is student preview. So for our purposes, we've provided you with lots and lots of student users. So go to Rihanna for those logins, because each of the courses you've got access to will have students attached to them. So you could log in as a student and do something if you want to see what the bill's like, but we also still have student preview. So you just select that and it'll start the preview. I don't really have anything to view here. I don't think. No, I've no content yet. But it just shows you what it looks like from a student perspective. So again, this bit's cut down because obviously we had the full instructor view. You can view groups, view attendance, etc. So to exit this, just click exit preview and it takes you back. Okay, so hope you're okay with that. I'll now move on to the sort of main part of adding content. So the key thing with Ultra, like we said, is built. It's different, but I think you'll find the flows, the creation of things, you should find easier to use. We're going to, I think, make this button bigger. I think some people have said they can't always see it. I mean, you should be able to see it here, but if you want to add some content, you click on the plus, or you want to create some activities, you click on the plus. You also have the option here to batch edit. So anything that's on this page, you can edit all the dates. You could do this in 9.1, but it was a different route to do it. This is just one click there, and then you're in. You can import content. So you can do export and import, like we do in 9.1, and then you can copy content. So copy content, again, if you create a template, system admin creates a template course, you could have access to that template, and again, you could quickly add content from it. So again, this is allowing me to add particular pieces of content. I'm just going to untick them. But again, you get the option to be granular, and you can go inside these if these are folders and decide what you want to bring across or not. So with copy content, what you actually do is you copy content from something, from a course you already have access to, and you copy it into this course, this page. Export is just the same, it exports as a zip folder. So building content quickly, you know, the usual thing. I don't know, do you use templates at Leeds Beckett? Template courses?
Not really template. We have a structure that we follow too, but I suppose we can create the template and then disseminate that.
Yeah, I mean, people tend to use them for things that are going to be reused lots of times. So there might be policies, documents, personal extenuating circumstances around assessment. They may be similar across certain subject areas, so there's no point in scrabbling around trying to find the content. It's easier and quicker for staff if you have a template course. It may say policies for health and social care, or you know, there may be a course policies for law or law society, or whatever it may be. It's just quicker for staff if they've got a template to use. They can just drop the content in. So that's something on templates, again, something to consider. So you can copy content there. You can also do it from this is called the overflow menu, this 3 dots. You can upload content. You can go to the content market. So that's, again, the publishers and any other external third parties you use. You can go and get content from your cloud storage. So again, that's Box, Google, OneDrive. And again, you can use a content collection. So again, I'm not sure if you use that a lot, at least back here, but if you do, you could go there and add content into your course pretty quickly from the content collection. The most popular one probably used is this Create. So plus means there are more options. So I'll click on Create, and I'll go through these. I'll probably start at the bottom initially because discussion's probably quicker to show you. But again, we've categorized these into particular areas. In Ultra, this arrow just means expand, collapse. You'll see that throughout Ultra. So we put them into these 3 areas. I'm just going to create a discussion. So although I'm on the content page, I can create a discussion quite quickly. Again, you'll see the interface is modern. You can give your discussion a title, hopefully more exciting than that. You can grade it or not. You've got the option here with any piece of content, it's the same, to make it visible to students, hide it, or you can release it. So the conditional availability means you can release it on a particular date or time. You can hide it. You can do that, and you could also link it to a graded item. So you might say, for example, you can't take part in this discussion until you've passed 60% in the diagnostic test or quiz or whatever it may be, or an assignment. So again, you can release it based on that. Again, like I say, the groups feature is coming in the next few months. Again, you could be part of the group and you would see this activity. And again, the thing that was different I mentioned earlier, you can make it visible or you can hide it from students. So if you just want to make it available, you just make it visible to students. You would obviously write something in here you want them to respond to. I can use all these features. So again, these all exist in 9.1, but they're different in terms of how you access them. At the moment, this text editor, you know, we've got this balance we have to make between making it accessible and responsive, but on the other hand, allowing you to be free to do certain things. So you may see at the moment here, just covering it off, there's no option to view HTML editor. That will come, but there are security issues around that with people breaking pages, making them inaccessible, affecting the responsiveness of Ultra. So we are developing, as it stands at the moment, we're developing an area where you'd be able to create HTML. It'll be like a contained, it will look like it's in the editor, but at the back end it will be wrapped around and separate to Ultra, so in case there's any issue with it. But when you look at it in the browser, it will just look as you would expect it to look. So just let you know that's coming. But at the moment, this is fairly cut down in terms of what you can do, but again, it gives you enough scope to do what you wish, I think. So once you save it, it automatically shows me I've got 12 participants. So that's the number of students in the course. It's visible. What else could I do with it? I can also go into the cog. So just to cover this, any time you see the cog, just means there are more settings. So rather than showing you everything, excuse me, that's possible. So a quick drink. We use this cog, so it just makes it easier for you if you're interested or you need to go and look at the other settings. Anytime you hit the cog, all these extra features appear. So again, some of these you'll be familiar with Learn 9.1. So I can decide that this appears on the course content page as well as the discussions page. So I'll show you what that looks like. I can make students post first. So the idea with there is they're not just going to copy, or they're going to have to think a bit about their response. I think in the course I've just been on, I think most of them will post first. So you had to post something, then you can see all the other responses. And then the other option is to grade discussions. You can also align this with goals and standards. I won't go into that. And there's also a assign to groups feature as well. So you can have discussions just for particular groups of students. But if I leave it as that, and I close this panel, so you'd be familiar, hopefully, as I've been showing you things. The way Ultra works is that panels pop out and then they disappear once you hit the cross. The Ultra-based navigation here on the left is always visible, so you can always get to that, but panels pop out as you use them. So I create that discussion. It appears here on the content page, which is this, and this is a scrolling page. But it also appears in the discussions area. So if I click on that, it's there. Again, you don't have to push it onto this page, but again, if you want students to engage with it as part of some other activities or resources, you can place it so that it's here. So when I click on this, I actually am now in the discussions area, although you can't see that, but that's where it resides. So I can type a response. There we go. There's my response. So if I go back here, if I look at the stream now, so I've got the activity stream, I should see that it should say I've created a discussion. There we go. So you hopefully get, I'll just pause there. So do you get the idea of the stream?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. So as you can imagine, if there's lots of activity, you think, oh crikey, this stream's going to get huge. There's going to be lots and lots of activity, and there will. But what happens is it'll bunch them up after a while, and it'll say X more items to view, and you just click on a link below here. So, and also you have the option here to just look at certain things. Ultimately, the stream is to keep you, aware of what's going on. So when you first log in, this environment has been set to the institution page, but if you want, it's up to you. I could change, or any of the sysadmins can change it to that. So when you first log in, you see this, and then you know what's new and what you need to look at. Might be something to discuss with Sarah or whoever, or the system admin person can do it. But again, just to be aware, most institutions I know that have moved to Ultra, and there's many of them, have decided on this. So for example, Aberdeen University, they've got 50% of their alt courses now using Ultra, which is what you're looking at now.
So once you've changed is it changing the stream structure and the landing page? Is that what you mean with the admin?
Yes, it's the landing page.
Does
Sorry,
it change it for everyone? Like everyone?
It does.
Right,
yeah.
okay, so it's not something that we can do individually.
No, it's it's part of a consistency thing. I think it's across the whole installation of Learn Ultra.
Right.
So
okay. Yeah, because I know we can change our landing pages now ourselves.
You can
for per course, but you can't do that with Ultra.
No, not at this level.
Okay.
Yeah, well, or at a course per level, you have the same
Okay.
structure. Yeah.
And my other question about courses in 9.1, can I move it to Ultra? Can I bring the content forward?
You can. There will be some issues because certain things, and there's my announcement that pops up. Certain things don't exist in Ultra, or they position differently in 9.1. So those things won't come across. There's going to be some cleanup. I'll be honest with you, won't match. But my advice would be, this environment is for yours to play with. So do what you want.
Okay,
with it.
but the
Most of it
option
will
for me
come.
to, yeah, I was going to say, is there a button where I can just click, right, move this content and sort of bring it in to Ultra, even if it doesn't sit properly? That's okay, I think, as a baseline.
Yeah.
Would that work?
Most of it will work. I don't know what your course looks like. One of the big things to know with Ultra is it's only 2 deep. So I can create one folder and then another folder inside that.
Yeah, sure.
And that's it. So if you have more than that in your 9.1 course, it will come across, but it will do something weird with the title. And again, you'll have to tidy it up, and you'll have to go to 2 folders.
Yeah, that's fine. Could you show me?
I won't show you today, but basically what you would do is you would go to 9.1, you would export the course. You're familiar with doing that? Yep.
Yeah, sure.
Export the course, which is then a zip folder. Don't open it because that corrupts it. So leave that as an export.
Okay.
And then when you come to your empty course shell, just do import content. And then you would just go and get it. So import course content. Wherever you've kept it, you just go and go and get it. And that's it.
So we just bring it in.
So you just click on a zip. That's not a zip, but you click on it.
Yeah, okay.
And then that will be it. If you'd stored it there or somewhere else, again, you would go there and get it. Yep. So yeah, try it. I've done it. General rule of thumb, the simpler the 9.1 course is or the structure, the more likely it will easily come into Ultra. But I know that's not reality. But yeah, it will come across, but again, just be aware things are different. So for example, there's no blog tool in here. There's no wiki tool in here.
Sure.
The
other
things.
That's fine. The question is sort of between academic years, what happens? Do you have to, so currently we tend to copy our content from one year to the next and then do amends. Whether this would have that kind of feature, like to copy an Ultra module within Ultra, how would that work?
Yeah, it'd be the same process at the back end. So you'll have some identifiers for different years, I guess. I don't know if you use a year code or something like that.
We have some other coding, but
yeah. So do you have a code to identify which academic year it falls in?
It changes every year, so the code it's not consistent. So
right.
I mean, it depends again on the module.
I mean, it's a question. Like I say, lots and lots of universities are using it, and I've moved. Aberdeen are coming up to their 2nd year of using it. So the short answer is yes. You can decide what comes across, what doesn't. Some have gone clean. Some, again, a bigger decision. Some universities who are going to Ultra next year are saying we're going to start from scratch. We're not copying any content across, which is a bold move. But generally, most institutions will copy last year's course content across. Again, you'd still have to build out the activities because they're different and the dates are different and so on. But yeah, you can do that. That's no problem at all. And again, although this says upcoming courses, you could change that to say something else. So this might say current academic year, and you might have another arrow here saying, 2019-20 or something like that. So you can decide what these are called here and where it takes you to.
That would change for everyone, not just.
That's everybody, yeah.
Yeah. So that's something that Rian would discuss, I assume. Using our terminology.
The other thing I would Yeah, the other thing I would say is, you're not alone. Like I keep saying, lots of institutions have gone through this move. So in community.blackboard.com, there's lots of advice. If you wanted or needed to, we can put you in touch with a few institutions who've done this. Just, it's peace of mind for you to talk to them rather than me saying it. Although I am telling you the truth, it's useful to speak to another institution who's gone through it. You're like, how did you do this? How did you do that? So useful to do that. So you're not the first to do it. We've got like 800 institutions who are running on Ultra at the moment. So that was a discussion. What time do you two need to disappear? Is it 11?
Is there how much of a Ultra do you want to go through?
I was just going to show you.
I've been on the face-to-face one, so a lot of it is a refresh for me. This is the first time Adam's seen it.
Yeah, it's up to you, Adam. I'm in lockdown. I can stay for a bit, but I might have other things to do.
What was you going to show us?
So I'm going to show you assessment, because that's usually what's key. Learning module. Test is pretty straightforward. I won't show you that. SCORM is straightforward. Links are just hyperlinks.
Yeah.
Folders. A document is different. I'll show you that now. So a document is basically a scrolling page, if you like. You think of it as a web page. So you can add content, upload it. You can drag and drop content in here. I might have done this the other day. So let's go drop you some content in. So I could get, for example, hopefully you can see that. So 3 items here. I'll drop them in. So you get this nice visual indicator telling you, whereas in the past you just wait and hopefully it would appear and you would see it. On a document, it displays images in line, so they're not a download, which is nice. It also does the same for MP4s. So again, I've not had to use any particular software. This doesn't have audio, just so you know, but it could have audio. This is just showing you breakout groups in Collaborate. So again, that was easy to do. And then this is an MP3. Again, I've just dropped it in. I'll stop this one. I could play this. I don't know if you'll hear this. I don't know if you heard that. But again, you can add that in, and then what you can do, that was just for speed. You can add content, text around this. So you might say, go and look at this skeleton. What are the names for A, B, and C? Whatever it is. And again, you can upload videos here. So if you have a YouTube clip or a Vimeo clip at the moment, because they're the top 2 used, we've added those first. You can just paste the URL in there and it embeds automatically, a bit like the mashup does. You can use formulas, you can insert links, you can attach local files in here. So what can I attach? How big is that? It's quite big. I can attach this PowerPoint. So this is from a meeting a while ago at Leeds Beckett. Again, that's a PowerPoint, so that's not in line, but again, that appears there. Students could access it, and so on. So I could build this up as I wish. So there's other pages I showed you. Quite a few of those used a document, and again, you have the same options here. Make it visible or not. Something that's different, which I need to show you in Ultra, which doesn't exist in 9.1, is this class conversations. So this is, it's not a discussion forum, it's a place for the students to discuss in situ without going to a discussion this activity. So you may give them an activity to do and say, I want you to, discuss how you're going to approach this. what tools you're going to use. You might use it as like a project tool for the students. You could give them something to discuss here as a conversation, tell them what you want to do about the assignment. And what happens here is students use this area to discuss in situ things related to this document or activity or task. So conversations, we've applied them to documents. They also now apply to assignments. I'll just save that. So again, something else that is different are conversations. Again, I'll just show you the assignment feature. Learning mules, again, have a play with that. I think what I'll do, Adam and Kerry, is after this session, this recording, I'll send out a number of links. We've got loads of links and videos in all the courses you're going to access, but I think it'd be useful for you to have some key documents and information that are on our help.blackboard site, which will just help you with getting started with Ultra. And like I said, if you want another session for this, I'll put that in the email. I'm happy to run another one if you need it next week or the week after. It's up to you. So coming back to assignments, big thing with assignments, we've done a lot of work on the workflow, working out how to make this easier. I appreciate you've probably used Turnitin quite a lot. But if you use the Blackboard assignment, again, there's just one assignment type in Blackboard, in Ultra. This is where you can also add quiz questions along with an assignment. Again, that's different in Ultra because it'd have to be separate in 9.1. This is where you would ask some text, please submit assignment, 2,000 words, whatever it may be. Deadline is this. You could have links to the late policy or whatever policy guidelines you have around assessments, assignments. You can use the link button and you just highlight, oops, not that one, yeah. You could do a link to wherever you want to go. The key thing with this assignment tool is there's one assignment tool in Blackboard, but you decide what type of assignment it is. So you can decide on the due date. Again, this is 24-hour clock. Worth having a good play with this once you get your hands on it. You can have class conversations, which I just showed you. If this was an assignment where, say, it's not an assignment as such, it might be a performance or a PowerPoint or something that doesn't necessarily lend itself a presentation to a digital submission, you can use this just to create a column in the grade center, which means they don't submit here, but they would know that it's being assessed and they could go and view their grades in the grades area. So again, that's something we've made that's different for Ultra. You've got different categories now. You can decide how many attempts are allowed. Again, if you do one attempt and they mess it up, you have to reset the attempt like you would in Learn 9.1. You've got these options. You can do points, letters, percentages. So you might have a graded scheme, A, B, C, whatever. You can make it anonymous. So again, it's one assignment. You decide based on these options what type of assignment it is. You can have different evaluators. You can add a time limit. You can add a rubric. Create a rubric. I won't go into the rubrics. What else is it to tell you? Yeah, if you want to make it a group assignment, you have to change the attempts. Where's the attempts gone? So for a group assignment at the moment, you have to change it to one attempt, and then the group option becomes visible. So then you would assign it to groups. I don't think I have any yet. But again, it takes you to the group page, and you can decide how many groups you want here. So again, very quick. This is just a lot quicker and easier than you would find at the moment to create a group assignment. So it's all one assignment. What sort of assignment it is. You can also have safe assign. Again, that comes free of charge if you like. It's part of your package. I know you use Turnitin, but you could also use this as part of text matching options. And then you save it, and there it is. And then as students submit, when you come back in, you'll see this number appear. There'll be 1, 2, 3, however any submissions. You have to make it visible for it to appear in the stream. Save that. And I'll just go back to the stream. Once the stream updates, it should show me that I've created an assignment. I'll just refresh it. Okay, I suppose. Maybe a bit quick for it, but that will update with the assignment. So that was everything I wanted to show you. I mean, just to recap, this is what a real course doesn't have to look like this, but this is one that's pretty structured. It has a folder structure, got lots of activities in here, got various assessments in it. I'll go down to 11, I think there's a practice exam in here. Course completion. Yeah, so we submitted a document, which was basically an assignment. Then we had to do a bigger piece of work. Then we had to reflect about the course. We could download the whole course here. I'm not sure, do you have Ally at Leeds Beckett? Heard of Ally?
We don't, but we have heard of it, yes.
Yeah, so this is Ally. So again, I can download the whole course, so that's part of this course as a document, but I could also download it in these alternative formats automatically. And then I'll get a certificate. Again, you can produce certificates, and that's a practice exam. So again, this is a test, that's a document, that's a discussion. These are assignments. So again, just to show you what they look like. So that was it. Any other key questions?
No, that's good.
Anything from you, Adam?
That's good, thank you.
I'm really aware that I've bombarded you non-stop with, I'll just stop the recording.